Alright, it's time for the review of the super cutesy, super simply, super microtransaction-y Happy Wars. Happy Wars is Microsoft's first soiree into the free-to-play genre on their aging Xbox 360 hardware. One could argue that the game isn't really free-to-play because a subscription to Xbox Live Gold is required to play the game. Other than that, though, you don't have to spend a penny to enjoy Happy Wars. It being free-to-play, though, is it worth your time investment to dive into this game, or should you avoid it like so many other cutesy free-to-play titles that look like they were designed by Chris Hansen to lure pedophiles? First thing you'll likely notice about Happy Wars is the Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic of the art style. The game may remind you of titles like Fat Princess, Dokapon Kingdom, and a few others that use the cartoony big head character style. That's not to say that this is a bad thing, as this is an underutilized style that really lends itself very well to the general vibe and atmosphere of the game. The menus, font, and user interface are similarly illustrated, lending to the feeling that you're on an episode of some Japanese children's cartoon. That being said, the game's art style actually strikes a very nice balance between cartoony and adult themes. They may be just walking cartoon characters, but the game features blood and violence of a T for teen proportion. The art for the environments is surprisingly fantastic as well, with vibrant colors, well-designed map layouts, and a special traversal options such as rafts and launching platforms on each level. The art style of the game definitely gets a thumbs up. Now, the actual gameplay of Happy Wars is something akin to Fat Princess or a mobile like Defense of the Ancients or League of Legends, only without the creeps. Well, creeps as in AI minions, not pervy people who breathe too hard into their headset and never actually say anything. Well, okay, there are those, but I digress. Your purpose in this wacky, war-filled world is to destroy and claim towers between your base and the enemy base. Once reaching the enemy castle, your goal is to break in and destroy their, quote, big tower. The rules are simple enough for everyone to understand, and that's a good thing since the game seems to be trying to appeal to a mass market. The game features a skill-swapping system that takes a little while to get used to, but once you do, it works great and allows for quick use of skill mapping while playing in the limited confines of the Xbox 360 controller. The actual gameplay aside, you may have noticed references to Happy Stars and Happy Tickets. Happy Stars are the currency you receive naturally via playing the game. The stars can be used to level up your equipment, play a lottery of sorts to gain better equipment, and a few other activities. Happy Tickets, on the other hand, are your shortcut to Happy Wars greatness. You can use Happy Tickets to level up equipment, purchase equipment, spawn with boosted stats, and a myriad of other performance-enhancing goodies. The catch to Happy Tickets, though, is that they cost real-world money, and that's okay. The developers have made a solid game for the entry cost of $0, so they need to justify their development costs somehow. There is a common trap in free-to-play games where players who are willing to pony up some cash have a fairly clear advantage in combat. Happy Wars partially falls into this pitfall. There's nothing keeping a player from being able to achieve the same lofty stat numbers as someone who paid for the privilege, but that person needs to realize that it's going to be an uphill battle to make that happen. There are a few design choices that help balance this out, though. For instance, your characters level up Call of Duty style and gain ranks as you complete matches. This helps keep new players from being able to simply purchase the best items in the game and equip them at level 1. The audio of Happy Worlds is spot on as well, and even surprising with its quality soundtrack. You wouldn't think a little MOBA style game like this would feature such a high quality orchestrated original soundtrack, but Happy Wars certainly has one. As you might be able to tell thus far, we really like Happy Wars. While that may be apparent, the game isn't without its glaring issues. The first thing you'll notice is the ridiculous amount of time you'll end up spending on the matchmaking screen. Now, this is difficult to judge with 100% accuracy since at the time of this reviewing the game isn't officially released yet. That excuse being made, it's all too common to find yourself in a match where it's you and a few other players versus a full team of human-controlled players. And that leads to our next major complaint about the game. The AI is atrociously bad when going against a human opponent. 9 times out of 10, the winning side is the side that simply just had the most human-controlled players. This is because the AI serves as little more than cannon fodder and rarely contributes to a fight in a positive way. Now, the rest of our complaints may seem minor, but they're definitely worth mentioning as they detract from the overall enjoyment of the game. These are little things like how it's difficult to select the friendly unit you want when healing as the cleric class, or how defense turret locations you are able to build throughout the level are not marked on the minimap. It's also kind of annoying how you lose almost all of your controller functionality when the game is attempting to connect to Xbox Live before or after matches. The post-game stats could also use more details such as the class everyone played the most, damage dealt, health restored, and etc. Also, there's no in-game explanation for some of the more granular workings of the game. Things like a breakdown and explanation of the buff definitions would be greatly appreciated. Some say war never changes. Fortunately, they were wrong, as Happy Wars is a joyful and cartoonish spin on stabbing, burning, and outright destroying your opponent. The game features a simple and fun multiplayer mode, a pseudo-horde mode to play with friends, and even a single-player campaign. All of this can be yours for a grand total of 0 Microsoft points. And when a fun experience like this can be had costing you nothing but your time, it's a war worth waging. Happy Wars gets a 4.5 out of 5.